Misa Jar Jar Binks! The ability to speak does not make you intelligent. Hey guys, it's JStarWars360 here with another Clone Wars vlog for you. This is part 1 of Disappeared. Again, it's a quick summary in case you don't remember what the episode's about. This is the one where I forget the planet and the name of the race, but there's this race of people who are Force sensitive, but they aren't necessarily Jedi or Sith. And some of their high elders are disappearing based on some prophecy, and if they don't if the elders don't return within 3 rotations, the planet will fall into darkness. So they need help. So there's only one person the Queen trusts, and that is Jar Jar Binks. For reasons that, in a way, are kind of jumping the shark, but I'll get into that in a moment. So the council, since she only will speak to Jar Jar, they send him, and Mace Windu comes along because, he thinks if there's any real danger, Jar Jar would be screwed, although I think if it were us, we'd send Jar Jar there on our own just so we'd have one less character to worry about. And in all honesty, if Jar Jar wasn't around in Revenge of the Sith, I wouldn't be at all surprised if Filoni killed him off, considering that he's pretty much has no problem killing people off in these past few arcs. But I digress. So, Mace Windu and Jar Jar go to the planet, and they discover in this underground temple area that these mysterious masked people are stealing the Force from the elders. And Mace and Jar Jar fight them off, but that one of the guys escapes with the Queen to a nearby planet. And that's the episode. Now, this episode is, for reasons that are pretty obvious, but at the same time, it's not as bad as it could have been. So first off, let's start with the awful. It's a Jar Jar episode. If that does not automatically say this episode's not going to be that good, I don't know what is. I mean, Jar Jar is an annoying character that no one likes. I mean, I have no idea why Filoni keeps insisting on having these Jar Jar episodes. Why? I know, you want to prove that Jar Jar is useful or something. Well, guess what? He's the most despised Star Wars character. Most of the episodes involving Jar Jar have gotten a lot of backlash from fans of the show. No one likes them, so stop using them. I mean, you're saying that these are the bonus content is the best episodes your crew has put together. Yeah. And so a Jar Jar episode is clearly the best thing you've ever done. And I know that George Lucas is giving Filoni a lot of ideas for the show. In that case, Filoni, you don't have to agree with George all the time. If George has a bad idea for an episode, you can tell him his idea sucks. He's not in charge. You are. So if George said, hey, let's do a Jar Jar episode, you know what you can say, Filoni? Sorry, George, but no one likes Jar Jar Binks. As a Star Wars fan, I don't like Jar Jar either. I mean, I know maybe there's some people, but we've already done Jar Jar episodes, and they haven't gone over very well, so let's not do them. So yeah, Jar Jar's there. Although, thankfully, he's voiced by his original actor, so he's not as annoying as that other guy who does Jar Jar's voice. And I guess it is something to say that they got one of the original actors. But anyway, I digress. And also, this is another episode that's very slow-paced. For the most part, we have a lot of Jar Jar just standing in a conference room with someone again. And yeah. But it's not all bad. I mean, there is some stuff that makes this episode kind of... Okay, before I get into the stuff that makes this episode redeemable, can I just take a moment to talk about the romance between the Queen and Jar Jar, which... I'm going to say this right now. They are jumping the shark with that moment. The Seth and Nap was like, no, you didn't. Like, out of all the people to have kissing scenes on the Clone Wars, you're giving it to Jar Jar? Jar Jar. I mean, I thought the romance between Zero the Hutt and that singer was fucked up. But this is like... Oh my gosh. I mean, this show just jumped the shark. I don't care what anyone says, it just jumped the shark. Like, seriously, I mean, I'm okay with the episode. It's just that so far, again, I haven't seen all the bonus content, and the Yoda arc is yet to come up, and that looks kind of promising, but so far I haven't seen anything amazing in this bonus content. Anything that made it so worth, anything that justified the show not being canceled. Like, a lot of these episodes, I would have, I'm still cool to see them, but so far, like, nothing in them has blown me away or said, why did this show get canceled? And again, I'll reserve judgment because it's not over. And I did say I want to talk about some stuff that makes this episode redeemable. And there is. For one thing, I do like... Mace is kind of like the audience here in that he's basically as annoyed and frustrated with Jar Jar as us. Like, when we learn that Jar Jar is going to talk with the Queen, we basically have the same reaction. Jedi have the same reaction as us, which is, really? What? So, it's nice to know that at least Mace is just pretty annoyed by Jar Jar. And, Jar Jar does say some logical stuff in this. And also the world that Jar Jar and Mace go to looks really nice. Some interesting Asian influence. Also, give Filoni credit. I'm pretty sure he created a new kind of planet and species. I looked online. I haven't found any... I mean, I didn't want to look too far early for fear I'd find spoilers of this episode. But I didn't find any sort of reference to these creatures of this world. So, kudos to Filoni for creating this. And I also gotta give credit to the writers. And before I go further, this just popped in my head, but the reason why I think this episode is not so great is because this is a writer he hasn't written anything for the Clone Wars. Now, that's not to say first-time writers generally suck. I mean, there are some really good first-time writers, like Jennifer Lee with Wreck-It Ralph, Boondock Saints, if you've ever seen that was a first-time writer, but I'm just saying, like, it could, but usually, without much experience, you tend to not be that good. So anyway, so back to what I liked. So, again, I like the idea of these aliens not entirely trusting the Jedi, saying that they're kidnapping their kids. I think that's a really interesting concept. Again, showing this idea of not everyone is on board with the Jedi, which, again, assuming my theory is correct that Ahsoka's arc was originally supposed to be later, which, again, may or may not be true, but assuming it is true, then it makes sense if Filoni's, again, trying to set up the idea that not everyone trusts the Republic. Which, again, is really interesting and and shows that not everything is necessarily black and white. There are really good and wise people who just don't like the Jedi. And finally, the third act of this movie was fun. There was a really cool area. We had fun action. It was a really nice nod to Temple of Doom. And as IGN pointed out, Jar Jar was basically like Willy in Short Round from Temple of Doom. That really annoying character that is kind of destroying this movie. Well, Temple of Doom had a lot of problems, but annoying side characters was one of them, and I guess in similar respects, this episode is similar in that we are stuck with this really annoying side character. But yeah, there was some fun stuff, like with Mace using the Force to catch Jar Jar, him fighting the natives, using the Force, and he doesn't really use his lightsaber that much. I thought that was interesting. And again, I think that in part just, I think, salvaged the episode and made it a lot more interesting than it could have been. And also, I have seen far worse Jar Jar episodes. First off, this isn't... Mace Windu is a bit more focused. It's not like... There have been some episodes where they make the entire thing about Jar Jar. They make him the leader, the hero, like Bombad Jedi and Gunga in general. There are some episodes where he's just spouting annoying dialogue, like in the underwater arc, the Manan arc, either Mon Calamari or Manan, I forget which planet it was. And then there are some episodes of Jar Jar where will just be a really boring political-based episode, like, I can't remember the name of it, but the one where he goes with Bail Organa to meet with the Toydarians. And then there's the Naboo episode where Jar Jar is a complete idiot, where he basically convinces Padme to give Grievous back to the Trade Federation. And here he was actually kind of logical. There was a character who was annoyed by him, and we actually had some fun action. And again, that last third, I think, did sort of make it all worth it. So again, I'm not saying this terrible. I honestly do not need any Jar Jar episodes. And in all honesty, this episode, again, it's another one of those episodes where I'm like, there's nothing really amazing here that makes me frustrated that the show got canceled. I mean, But again, we still have episodes to go. But as of right now, I have yet to see that something like the Darth Maul arc, something truly amazing, great that just blows me away. But to be fair, this arc isn't over. We still have one more episode, and I looked at the thumbnail for the next episode on Netflix, and a certain character is going to be returning that I'm really happy about. If you saw my reaction to the Clone Wars trailer, you probably already know who it is or what it is. Or if you've seen the episode, you probably know who I'm talking about. But yeah, so again, first off, sorry this video's been rambly, but I always tend to be rambly. And I know I always apologize for that, but it's true. I hate being rambly. I want to make clear focus points, and hopefully I am. So, again, to recap, it's an alright episode. I don't like that it's a Jar Jar episode, but at the same time, this episode could have been a lot worse, and I have seen a lot worse. It's fun at the end, and the arc's not over. We still have a bit more to go, and hopefully the second episode things will pick up, and hopefully Jar Jar will shut up. So, until then, this is JStars360, and may the Force be with you.